Hello there and welcome. It has been a quiet few days. The developers have been working diligently, I assume, over the weekend, and today we have gotten ourselves the latest hotfix update to 1010, and it'll probably be the last one before the final patch release, basically before the beta becomes the main absolute branch and probably doesn't get updated until next year. So unless something is completely fucky with this update, and I mean, fingers crossed it isn't, then this is what we're going to get for the whole Christmas. So let's hope that it is a good one. So let's see, what do we get? Levies are now going to recover faster when at peace, fair enough. Increase the recovery from revanchism by 4x, increased from 10% to 33% in defensive wars. I don't think I've seen this modifier like apply anywhere. I don't know where to find it. But maybe that's because I rarely lose land in wars at the moment. Increase the impact from high peasant satisfaction on levy recovery from 20 to 50%. That's kind of nice as well. Naval combat now stack wipes. So this problem that we've had where naval combat was a series of one-tile retreats where we just, fight. Oh, we got to capture, fight, capture, whatever. Like, that was super annoying, and it made naval anything ridiculously awful. Now that is solved. So if that is what you were, holding off on, you didn't want to deal with that annoyance, now it might be the time to update to 1010 because that's no longer a thing. And Cavalry got buffed. Apparently not apparently, I remember in the last update they said that they took 75% less damage, and I thought that was ridiculous. Now they only take 25% less damage. Oh, it's not a buff actually. But they've been weakened again. But I don't know. I still feel like Cavalry, you're... And there is a Cavalry nerf as well. They were taking 75% less damage. Now they're only taking 25% less damage. The balancing on armies, on regulars, is just going to be an ongoing process, I guess. And I don't know. Will they stop the Cav-only armies? Potentially. We'll have to play around with it and see. I have been kind of migrating away from it myself because I like the ability to assault forts, because I find forts to be obnoxious. So I've been kind of migrating away from cavalry, so this won't affect me too terribly much, I don't think. But either way, this is something that people have been asking for. Onto the diplomacy changes. They've changed the rules for rivals, so it's their opinion of you that matters. So that's the one that you can affect. If you improve your opinion over 100% on a rival, they will stop being your rival. That just makes sense. Economy. Upstream proximity costs are now as good as downstream proximity costs. This is going to really help places like England with their singular river up the Thames. You'll get more proximity up there. Hungary, I think, will be buffed by this. Who else is and basically anyone in anywhere that isn't England, right? Everyone has tons of rivers except England, so yeah, congratulations. Everybody has just gotten a massive buff, I guess, to their proximity. Cool. Fixed a bug where automated trade would not be maximizing the available trade capacity. Yay! I still am thinking this game is due a pretty heavy overhaul to trade, at least in the UI department, because I still just don't find it super enjoyable to interact with. And while I want to point out, I really dislike the way the EU4 trade is, because I find it to be just theft, and it's not realistic at all, and it obviously only all goes to Europe. There's no, mutual beneficial trade or anything like that. So, in a pure, not lore, but in a realism sense, in a mechanical sense, I do think EU5's trade is superior, especially with the trade nodes or markets that can grow, shrink, move, all that kind of thing. I think that's fantastic. I love that. Interacting with it, though, EU4 still has EU5 beat, just purely because it's just less finicky. It's less, it might be less tangible, but it's more fun to manipulate. Whereas the trade in EU5, it might be mechanically superior, it might be all of this, but it's just kind of not fun yet to interact with. So hopefully we're gonna get something along those lines in the future. That's my hope, at least. Forming Germany now requires 66% of the land instead of 75%. I saw a post on Reddit not long ago where somebody who was playing as Prussia got the not modern borders, got the borders of 1914 Germany, and he couldn't form Germany. He didn't have enough locations, even though this amount of locations was enough for real life Germany to form the German Empire. That apparently was not enough for EU5. I think a lot of the formables in this game could definitely be toned down quite significantly. I think it is. I think if you have the key locations, the key cities, and say 50% of the locations, then that should be enough to form. And then as long as you, and when you do that, then getting a CB or claims or cores or whatever on the rest of that region, nice reward. That works for me. I would like that. But yeah, hopefully, 66% doesn't seem like that big of a difference from 75. I still don't think you're going to be able to form Germany with the historical borders of Germany when it formed. But maybe. I'm not sure. The gov reform for Shabandaria is no longer available to everyone. I don't think I ever was capable of taking it, but I do remember seeing it when I was playing as Bohemia. So yeah, that's good for that being gone. Fix the triggers for the cattle bullying advance. Issue is also blocking 2 Irish advances down the line, whose modifiers will now be available from the start. Good for them. Good relations starting modifier between Castile and Portugal, so they're unlikely to go after each other at the start of the game. That also makes it easier to trigger the Battle of Rio Salado event chain. Nice. It's good to see that Portugal isn't just going to cease existing in every single game now. That's a good thing, of course. Slightly lower the chance that an AI subject uses the Betray Our Allegiance option during the 100 Years' War situation. It was a little bit ridiculous how frequently this thing was firing. The modifier for Appanage Betrayal is now -10 subject loyalty instead of -100. And when they do defect, the diplomatic betrayal will no longer affect the new overlord. So if England steals Brittany, Brittany isn't going to have a -100 malice. Seems like a pretty good deal there. Only subjects with their capitals in the France region or in Flanders, Brabant, and Holland areas will be able to defect during the 100 Years' War via the defect action. Good, this is what I've been asking for. It was a little bit ridiculous that, say, Durham was defecting to France. The whole defecting thing is more a case of, the ruler of this little area saying, yes, I believe you are the true ruler of France. And if Durham believes that France, the king in France, the de Valois in France, in Paris, the guy in Paris, you are the true ruler of France. He's not just going to defect to become their vassal. He's still an English vassal. He just doesn't agree with his king. It should maybe, if you really want to give them something, give them like an opinion malice or loyalty malice to England. But obviously, now this is just fine. Just having it so that only ones in France and the Low Countries can defect. Fantastic. That's exactly what we want. The Byzantine event reforming Imperial Army now requires you to have 10k standing armies. I thought this was already the case. I remember reading this exact code before, a changelog thing before, so I don't know. Opinion penalty from removing locations from the HRE now is a yearly decay of 2, up from 1, capped at -200 instead of being uncapped. Being the Emperor of the HRE now grants you a cabinet slot, 2 diplomats. This is like max diplomats, not diplomatic per month, I would assume, I would hope. More diplomatic range, an extra culture capacity, 0.1 monthly prestige. This could literally be 1 monthly prestige, just flat 1, and probably still not be OP, not gonna lie. An extra fort limit, that's kind of irrelevant, and +1 possible artists, also a little bit irrelevant. the modifier should bring the HRE Emperor more on the same level as other empires. No, it is definitely good. I mean, +1 cabinet slot is by far the most important thing on this list. It makes it something that I might actually go for. I kind of might want to be the Emperor with these bonuses. Beforehand, not so much. The Emperor also now has the option to join the HRE if they're not already a member. Reforming a government type will now only remove you as the HRE if you form out of a monarchy into a different government type. In other words, a monarchy which reforms its government into a monarchy will not lose its role as Emperor. Makes sense. The royal influence will now probably refer to the correct religion. The event Bid for Independence will now remove the Arachnids from all wars the Gelaerids are involved in, making it possible for them to declare their independence war against the Gelaerids. This might end up changing the balance of Anatolia quite significantly. One of the big stumbling blocks that the Ottomans have is if they want to expand further east, they have to go through the Arachnids being a vassal of the Gelaerids, and the Gelaerids having a quite large standing army of, I believe, horse archers, or some kind of cavalry at least, makes that very difficult. You're going up against like 60,000 troops, 12,000 of which are like regular cavalry, and you kind of just get bodied, and it's not great. If we can now see the Arachnids move away from the Gelaerids and become independent, we may end up seeing a more resurgent Ottomans. That is something I'm looking forward to testing out and see if that is the case. Premature end of the wars in the Hook and Cod Wars will always end the Hook and Cod Wars. The event assassination of Gerhard von Schauenberg will only annex Schleswig if they are a subject of Denmark. Changed the Peel Tower modifier to Devastation Recovery, and added a missing message for when a country rejects your request to become their subject. As for diplomacy, Portugal, Castile, and Aragon will not rival each other anymore. If this is just like a hard block, I don't know how much I'm okay with that. I feel like if their opinion goes low enough, then they probably should be able to rival each other again. I don't like that it is just like a hard block if that is the case. Economy. The AL will no longer shut down their granaries when trying to recover from economic doom spirals. Okay, good. Royal Marriage Tooltip will no longer tell you the child you try to find a spouse for is already married. Remove rival message now shown when rivalry towards you or someone else is forced to end. Good. And then fixing game concept structure, breaking the game concepts. Don't know what that means, but it's a translation thing. Cool. And then some miscellaneous bug fixes. Improve the construction time estimation calculations. Annexed country characters will not be inherited if they are of a non-accepted or non-tolerated culture. And then fixed the battle result window for naval battles showing the wrong number or overrun. Well, considering the naval battles are now obviously not, going to start doing stack wipe stuffs again. Not sure how much this is relevant, although, I think probably everything is relevant enough. But yeah, that is the changelog for 1010. It is a lot shorter than some of them that we've seen, but I would argue that a lot of these things were like really key, important updates, important changes. Naval combat, it was such a game-breaking thing. That's why I started playing, or one of the reasons I started playing as Bohemia in one of my most recent runs, is just because I didn't want to deal with the naval situation. Naval was just ass. So now, maybe it's not so ass. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below if there are any things that you think they have missed that they really need to work on in a beta patch. Obviously, there are things that I think they should work on. Trade is what I mentioned earlier, that I don't think is, fit for a beta patch. I'd want like an actual proper update. But let me know what you think they could change in an update, in a patch, in one of these betas. And let's see if there's any more improvements that we can help make to this game that we are all, without exception, you wouldn't watch this video if you didn't enjoy this game, EU5. Anyway, thanks all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Toodaloo.